On the last episode, with help from some friends, we managed to pull the engine of our 1989 Chevrolet Camaro. With it now sitting happily on the stand, it's time to break into it and start the disassembly process of this 305. Now that we've got the engine on the stand and everything's easy to access, the first thing we're going to do is to drain the oil from the pan. Once that's done, we can easily remove the oil filter. It's funny how much easier some of these things are to access with the engine sitting on a stand. Okay, the next order of business is going to be to take off the accessories. There we are. Now we'll do the same thing for the power steering side. And then, oh, guess there's still some coolant in it. And now these can be removed as well. So next up, I'm going to take off the water pump. I suppose there's no real benefit to removing the pulley at the moment, so I'm just going to leave it attached. That means there are 4 bolts, 2 on each side. And much like many of the other fasteners on this engine, they are again a 9/16. So we'll bust them loose first. That one was pretty loose, as was that one. And that one, maybe it's just because I'm using a breaker bar. That one seems pretty loose as well. Okay, we'll move on to the ratchet. That's the tightest of the bunch. That one is very tight, as a matter of fact. There we go. I think it's just full of gunk. Let's see if this guy wants to play ball. Yes, he does. And I probably should have seen that coming. Okay. I don't have a harmonic balancer removal tool on me, but I can at the very least remove the pulley. I'll try getting it by hand. If not, I will need to break out the impact. As suspected, the center balancer bolt is just spinning with the engine, so I'll need to use the impact for that. So, hopefully this takes it out without spinning the engine. Good. There we are. For the time being, we'll just thread the balancer bolt back into the balancer. I guess back into the crankshaft. Okay, that is all the front accessories taken off. We'll have to take off the balancer later because I'll have to go rent a tool for that. Okay, now that we've got everything removed from the top of the intake manifold, it's time to remove the manifold itself. So, we're going to want to follow the detorquing procedure, which I don't have in front of me, but I should go open my repair manual and double check. You want to go in the opposite order of the torquing sequence. And now I'm going to go through and remove the bolts, and then it's that same pattern now that they're all detorqued. And with that, the intake manifold should be free. I don't, however, expect it to come off easily. Yeah, that's gonna need some prying. Just gonna whack it loose and break the seal. It's just a rubber mallet. There it goes. Oh. Good. I wanted more coolant on my floor. Next up, we're going to be trying to take off this exhaust manifold. So it's cylinder number 3 here that had the low compression. So it'll be curious to see if there's any obvious problems or if we'll have to take the pistons out to see the condition of the rings. I'm hoping the cylinder walls are in good condition so that we can slap this thing back together with some new rings, do a little light cylinder honing, and just put it back together. If it's worse than that, we will have to evaluate our options. And I've already replaced this gasket with a silicone, rubber, whatever it is. It's not cork, so it should come off easily. Very easily, in fact. Good. Next, I'm going to be getting the torquing sequence for this head, and I'm going to be detorquing each of the bolts in that order. Oh shoot, no. Probably want to take the rocker arms off first. Of course, I don't have any way of organizing these, so I will have to be careful with where I put them. Okay, now that I've got somewhere to set this up, now it would be good to spin the engine and make sure that this valve is completely closed. As a matter of fact, I might give that a shot. It does appear to be closed. The other thing I'm gonna have to be careful of is I already did drain the oil. So there's obviously still a lot of residual oil, but don't exactly want to overspin the engine. Though that being said, it's not like significant oil would be circulating just from hand cranking the engine, even if there was oil. So, well, it's just something we should keep in mind. Now let's make sure the intake valve is also closed. Okay, that's the exhaust valve closing. Well, it would have been closing if that was tight. That means we're safe to take off the intake valve. Okay, because some people say it doesn't matter, but I figure it can't hurt, I am going to be trying to put these back in the cylinder they came out of. So, I'm going to try and keep them organized. There we go. With the rocker arms out, it is now time to to remove the head bolts and pull the head. Okay, to begin with, we're going to be detorquing with the breaker bar, as these are very tight bolts. One. Good. Okay, I'm going to take all the bolts out except for this center one, because that's going to be my safety bolt. I'm actually going to thread that back into 3 threads so that as I pry to get this head off, it doesn't go flying out of the floor. Now just using a hand ratchet here, thread this center one in just a little bit. Good. And first we're just gonna see if we can, nope, she's on there. All right, so we'll find a prying utensil. Might just use my breaker bar handle. I'm gonna take the valve cover off. Pretty well separated. Just this bottom layer. And away we go. Still not coming loose on this front side. Oh, come on. Okay. That is quite a bit of carbon. The cylinder walls look good. After I had a quick glance at the cylinder walls, I went ahead and removed the other cylinder head as well. You'd think after all the coolant spills I've had that the engine would be fully drained by now, but somehow I keep managing to find more to spill on my floor. Just like the other side, this cylinder head didn't want to come out without a fight. After a fair amount of prying, it did finally break free and I was able to set it aside. Unfortunately, this is where we're going to have to leave it for this episode. The story of cylinder number 3 will have to wait until next time, but if you're a fan of carnage, I promise it'll be worth the wait.